Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and I want everybody watching to know, whether you have, with an invisible condition especially, that you do have a voice, you have a community, you are not alone. I want you to know that. And speaking of not alone, I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Kari Berridge, and she has some expertise in some areas that I'm excited for her to teach us about. And those areas are ADHD, Tourette Syndrome, just right OCD, which I had never heard of before. I'm kind of excited to talk about that because I'm pretty sure that that's something I've been living with that I didn't even know about until you put sometimes you put a name to something and then you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And also anxiety disorder. So she enjoys offering a fresh perspective on these often like really misunderstood conditions. They're so often they're like misdiagnosed. So Kari's a passionate advocate and educator dedicated to promoting neurodiversity, breaking stigmas, and fostering understanding. And she's a amazing mother of 3, proud grandma of 4, accomplished fitness and wellness coach, successful business owner, and author of her book, Cut the Anchor. This is going to be awesome. Welcome, Kari, to the show. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kari. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And man, there's a lot of I know I listed a lot of stuff there, but what was the thing? The OCD, the just right OCD, that for some reason that has stuck with me since we had our first conversation a while back. I don't know why that stuck with me. I'm like, I wonder if that's a thing. I wonder if that's a thing I do now. So, or that I've done my whole life and not even known what it was. So it's interesting. So yeah, let's talk about some stuff. I mean, you share with us what you remember from the beginnings of kind of how you found out about these different things that you now live with and know what's going on with. How did that come about?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely.
So I have like when I was younger, I would twitch all the time. I would blink my nose. I would, blink my eye and twitch my nose. And I got teased relentlessly from kids at school. And my dad twitched too, but I didn't know why I twitched. So I had no idea why I was doing this. So I would, when I was younger, I remember being in my parents' car, sitting in the back seat, and I would just keep saying to myself, stop twitching. And I try and make it from light post to light post, and it just wouldn't work. And so then I would beat myself up and, be mad at myself that I couldn't make it from a light post to the next light post without twitching. And I just didn't know why I was twitching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate. I can totally relate. I did the same thing. Yeah. I've always had tics, from as long back as I can remember, I think caused by surgeries I've had. But yeah, I used to try to suppress them too. And then, I don't know, it's tiring.
It is.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
To try to do that. Did you ever, what happened there? Do you still try to suppress them, or do you just, who cares?
Well,
and what?
Yeah. So I didn't find out what I had until I was 27. And it's kind of funny because I was actually watching Oprah and she had a guest on, and it was about Tourette Syndrome. And so I started listening. I was 27 years old. And I was, listening intently. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have Tourette Syndrome. So I, phoned my mom and I said, I think Dad has Tourette's. And so I went to my doctor and then to a neurologist, and I was diagnosed with Tourette Syndrome. So then I started researching about it. And, at first, for a long, long time, I was embarrassed I had it. And so I'd always try and hide it. So, if I was twitching, I would, put my head down or, just like cover my face or, anytime I was twitching, I would not let anyone see me.
Yeah.
And then now I just twitch it. And it's really bad right now. It's in my shoulder. People will probably be able to see it's in my shoulder a lot. Mine move around And thank gosh, they're not in my face well, a little bit maybe right now, but more in my shoulder. And it is painful. I go to bed and I'm exhausted. It is very, very painful to have it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Mine, I'm pretty sure mine was caused by my last brain surgery I had in October of 2021. So I've always had minor tics, like with the nose and the eyes and my head would twitch every once in a while, and it was uncontrollable. You can't control them. That's what people don't understand is it's not that we enjoy this. No. And we're not trying to get attention. Our body is involuntarily doing this for some reason. And we have to be okay with it. And since that surgery, I can totally relate because it's doing it now. It's a little subtle right now. So hopefully it's not too visible, but my shoulder and my leg will just twitch on one side of my body. And what you're saying, I'm so relating to right now.
Yeah.
Because mine happened to be caused by trauma to the brain through surgery, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tourette's was a thing. If I ever got I've just never gone and got diagnosed. What was that process like, by the way? With the diagnosis,
it was so long
was
ago.
that hard?
It was so long ago, but I do remember just, I saw a neurologist and they just ask a bunch of questions, really, basically. Okay. They just ask a bunch of questions. And in order to be considered, having Tourette's, there's vocal tics and there's non-vocal tics. So vocal tics would be like clearing the throat, like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do it. That's part of Tourette's too, is once you see someone do it or hear someone do it, you can adopt it then to be your own. So I'm probably going to do that now. But throat clearing, coughing, sniffing, those would be the three main ones. Okay. And you have to have a vocal in order to to be considered having Tourette's. And then there's non-vocal, and those are the main things would be eye twitching, nose or eye blinking, nose twitching, shoulder shrugging. But there's lots. I mean, it could be to the extreme of cartwheels or somersaults where you're walking down the street and you literally do a cartwheel or you literally do a somersault. And we can't control it. And another thing about Tourette's too, is I actually didn't know I do this, but someone pointed it out to me. You have a sequence. So it might be like an eye blink, a nose twitch, and then a shoulder shrug or something like that. And that's the order you do them in. I never noticed that I did that, but someone did point out that I do that. So that was interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So there has to be a vocal. So for it to be considered Tourette's, there has to be a vocal manifestation of it somehow. Some sort of, like I've seen speakers, that have, speaking on like TEDx stages and stuff about Tourette's, and they've been, one of them was, she had some other co-conditions going on. So I think she was in a wheelchair, but she would like shout out there was like 2 or 3 words that she would shout out just involuntarily. Yeah. I think one of them was hedgehog. It was the craziest thing. I was like, wow, okay. And so she would just say it at the beginning of every time she went to talk somewhere. She'd say, by the way, you're going to hear this word and this word and this word a lot. Okay. Because this is part of my tic, that I do. And so, but it's so funny because just because we talk about it and we warn people that it's coming doesn't mean we can control it. That's the thing. We're warning you because we can't control it. So,
exactly.
Oh, that's crazy. Well,
and then so there's 2 others. So a lot of mostly what people know about Tourette's from the, from movies and stuff is the swearing tic. And so that is a vocal tic, but that's actually called corpulalia. And that is less than 0.05% of people with Tourette's have that. Huh. And so that is the highest form of a vocal tic, but also repeating. So say you said hedgehog, and someone with that part of Tourette's with that tic could go hedgehog, 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 hedgehog. They'll say it 3 times. And also, which is really, I'm glad I don't have this, but with that corpulalia, with the swearing one, people also can say racial slurs and they're not racist at all. It's something that comes out. It does. And then the swears, the reason it's swear words, it's because it's harsh sounding. It's like a k
Yeah.
sound or a s or a p, like it's the
Yeah.
harsh sounding, and that happens to be some swear words. So
Yeah.
it's not that the person wants to say any of that stuff. It just comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, this is very, I know we're only 10 minutes in, but this is so enlightening right now because I feel like I feel like this is and I know it's kind of dangerous to do a show like this with all these different conditions that people have, because if you're not careful, you can say, oh geez, I wonder if I have that, or I wonder if I have that, and you start to think you're feeling it, but truly for about the last 20 years, I've thought to myself, I wonder, I wonder if Tourette's is a thing, but I've never known what to do to test for it. So I think I'm going to check that out, because I
Yeah.
think it would just set my mind at ease and be like, okay, it's not, I'm not crazy. It's just, this is what it is. It helps to put a label to it sometimes, you
I
know?
think so. And,
Yeah.
again, not to, when you do find things out, it's not to use it as an excuse for anything,
No.
but I just think knowledge is power. So
Yeah.
knowing that you have it is very powerful, because then you know why you do things. It doesn't mean that you're not going to do them anymore, especially with Tourette's, because you can't really control it. But
Right.
and also, I just do want to talk about the controlling for a little bit, because what happens with a lot of people is we try so hard, and especially kids, they try so hard to suppress the tics, like say when
Mm.
they're in school, or
Yeah.
say, an adult at work or somewhere, like, with that. So you try so hard to control it that then when you go home or you're in a safe environment, you just let it go. And it's
Yeah.
just like really bad. But it's because we've been trying to suppress it, even though it doesn't always work, but you can control it a little bit.
You can, but it's so funny because I with these ticks that have just been a couple years now. Yeah, it's true. You can try, and I've done that, but then you can. It's almost like you can feel it like storing up, and then it's
Yeah.
like you go home, and then it just
It
wrecks
just,
you.
yeah.
And
So
so
one place I get
yeah.
it sometimes, which is kind of scary, is I get it in my breathing tube. So when I'm
Oh.
trying to breathe, and all of a sudden, like it's like the muscles are tightening up like this, and then I can't
Mm.
breathe. So I have to like just quickly do some yoga breaths and take really deep, like calming yoga breaths, or I do tapping. And I don't know
Oh
if
yeah.
anyone really knows much about tapping, but it's
Hmm.
certain trigger
Yep.
points,
Here and
and
here and
here
yeah.
and here and here.
Yeah.
And so like I'll do that to, if I'm in a situation where I need it to calm down for just a short period of time, I'll just do the yoga breathing. Like say I've had a lot of MRIs and you can't move in there. So tell a Tourette
Mm.
patient not to twitch when you're in an MRI machine. It's really hard. So I
For
just do,
40 minutes
yes.
or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So I
Oof.
just do that yoga breathing, deep breaths to try and calm it
Yeah.
down. So I can calm it down for a bit, but as soon as I'm done in that situation, then it goes crazy.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yes. MRIs can be tough.
Yeah.
They are tough. Not to mention, it sounds like a chainsaw and
Yeah.
jackhammer going off in your head, and those things are terrible.
Yeah. And I was just going to say another thing too. My son, I have twin boys and they have Tourette's as well. It's hereditary.
Hmm.
And usually the male gene gets it. 80% of the time the male gene gets it, but I got it instead of my brother. So like my dad has it, I have it, my boys have it, and my one of my grandsons. But one of my boys, he used to hum. So he would
Oh,
hum his words.
oh,
And of course, we knew it was Tourette's, but he got teased, or
oh,
people thought, oh, how cute. And it's like, that's not really that cute actually, because it's really annoying when, for the person,
well,
not
yeah,
annoying for others, but it's annoying for the
yeah,
person doing it. Yeah.
totally. Man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, humming. Forgot about that.
Or
Huh.
when he was skating, he was, he played hockey, he would skate and then he would do a little hop, and everybody thought that was his thing. No, it was Tourette's. He'd be skating and then hop, and then skating and then hop. Try and play hockey when you're doing that. It's like, it's, it's more annoying than people realize.
It really is. And what's crazy is the reason people don't realize it is because they probably don't live with it. And so they don't understand, and they don't like, it's like, well, why can't you just stop? You
Yeah.
know, believe me, if I could, I would.
So I
Okay.
always just tell people
You
to
know,
just do this, just twitch their wrist, and
yeah,
don't stop for 24 hours.
yeah,
And then, and then you'll know what it's like.
right. Welcome to my world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
and it's just like for myself, when it's in my shoulders, as well as all the working out I do, it just gets so tight. It's like just a big ball of knots. So I do get massage every 3 weeks, but she has to go like so deep, and it's worse on the Tourette side. It's always
Yeah,
worse
I
on the
bet.
Tourette side. So like she gets how knotted up my body is. Like I'm in pain. Like
Oh man. Yeah.
most days I'm in pain from the Tourette's. And I
Totally.
don't think people, well, how can they understand if they don't have it? It's
Right. Well, and that's the invisible part of it. See,
yeah,
that's why that's why this show is so important, because because people don't understand. They see you walking down the street, and they or driving or whatever, and nobody knows what's going on.
yeah,
Nobody's going to look at you and go, "Hey, I know what's going on there. I can pinpoint that. She's got Tourette's. That's obvious." It's not obvious.
no,
And what's going on the surface is like kind of like the iceberg, right? That you see about this much of it, and then under the surface is all the rest of it that nobody else sees. And that's the painful stuff, and the emotional turmoil that you sit yourself through
yeah.
because you want to be able to stop and you can't.
And so
So
I love this saying, the quote, seek to understand, but not seek to understand as opposed to seek to be understood. It's seek to understand because you don't know what people are going through. You have no idea
oh my
what
gosh.
people are going through behind the curtain. And so just
Yeah.
to me, it's seek to understand, right?
Seek to understand, exactly. And seek to understand, and not to be afraid, because if you I've seen people, it like I used to work at a school, and some of the little kids that didn't understand would look at me, and some of them would like start to imitate it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at Jeff, he's doing this thing, and I'm like, oh, but I didn't, they're in first grade or something, you can't sit there and explain it to them. So sometimes you have to be gracious with yourself, and you got to just roll with it. But yeah, it's a very misunderstood thing. And so many people, it's more common than you think. I mean, it's ridiculously common. And there's probably millions of people out there walking around with it that don't even know it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take just a short break, just a couple commercials, and then we're going to come back. And I want to talk more about, you have, you've got a couple of websites that we've got some contact info for you, and we've got your website that I want to make sure people will be able to get to very easily. And then we can talk about your book too, because we definitely want to talk about that. So
Great.
Everybody stick around. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And yeah. See you soon.
Does your to-do list have you feeling stressed? Does your list include tasks like responding to email and phone calls, collecting forms and paperwork, and sending quotes and invoices? Have you been neglecting posting updates to your social media accounts, email newsletters, or content on your website? Maybe you need help to get digitally organized. I'm Selena, one of the owners at Office Mercenary, and we're a US-based virtual assistant agency. We can take care of all of these tasks and more so you can get back to focusing on the things you love about your business. Our team is happy to work with you and your individual needs. So schedule a call with us, bring your to-do list, and stop doing the tedious tasks.
In a world where office workers typically receive 130 daily emails and have an 8-second attention span, CoreCentrica, with her 4 decades of international marketing experience, has partnered with the Learning Code Institute and their 30 years of neuroscientific research. Together, we are crafting unique messaging strategies that resonate, connect, and ultimately convert our target audiences. CoreCentrica, where award-winning creativity and disruptive neuroscience come together. Scan this code now, or call and click, and let us show you how CoreCentrica's partnership with the Learning Code Institute is influencing how businesses connect with their audience, foster engagement, and achieve conversions.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham, and I'm host of Simply Sarah. Join me Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the best energetic tools to elevate your amazing life right here on E360 TV.
Welcome back, everybody. This is like, even just the first 20 minutes of us talking has gotten my brain just like exploding right now with all the stuff that I feel like I have to go online and check out or go call my neurologist and say, hey, maybe we should meet again. It's been a while. Got another question for you. So this is good. This is good. And I hope everybody out there is thinking the same thing, because I'm sure that you probably know somebody that has talked about this kind of stuff, but they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, by the way, if you have questions, this way, this is the person you want to talk to right here. So you have any questions, we're going to put contact. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put your contact info right here. This is where you can find any information anywhere you want to. If you don't find a way to get a hold of Kari on here, it's your own fault. Everything's on there. So Linktree is a beautiful thing. Everything's on there. So, and if anybody, if you have any questions about Tourette's or anything else we talk about today, reach out. I'm sure she's
absolutely
to help you out. So, so I don't really think of Tourette's as being invisible, though. I mean, right? Like some of the other diagnoses that you talked about that kind of are encompassed in Tourette's can be invisible, but Tourette's can be very visible sometimes.
Yes.
Right? I mean, what would be the invisible parts of that? It would be probably the internal turmoil, right? That you're when you're trying to hold back the tics or not say the thing or whatever. But most of it's pretty external.
Yeah, for the Tourette's it is. Sometimes it gets into my abs, like my stomach, and so it just twitches, and so someone can't see that. So, or just the little, like say for my feet, I have it in my toes. So all my shoes have holes in it where the toe is, because my toe, like my feet are here, and I just keep twitching.
Oh, wow.
Twitching. So that's something like someone wouldn't be able to see in my shoes.
Sure.
So, but for the most part, you can see people's tips.
Yeah, but I still maintain that it's kind of like the iceberg, it's like, here's what you can see, this little piece right here. And then everything else that either contributes to it or exacerbates it or, makes it intolerable is what's invisible. But, so let's talk about your book for a second, because you have a book. I want you to talk about why you wrote the book. So Cut the Anchor is it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool book, and I'm excited to check it out more. But tell us about it. Tell us about why you wrote it and what's it about.
So I've always wanted to write. It's kind of funny. I wanted to write a book about my life, and I wanted to write a book about Tourette syndrome. And that's been for like 20 years. And so it all came together in one book where I am writing a second book, and it's going to all be about neurodiversity. So ADHD, Tourette syndrome, OCD, and anxiety disorder. But in my current book, it is just a chapter in there. And so basically I had been holding a secret for 35 years, and without really knowing, really understanding, it was affecting my whole life. It was affecting relationships. It was affecting my health, huge time health. It was just affecting every part of me, because when you hold a secret for that long, you have shame, you have guilt, all these things that surround it. And the secret came out last September. So September, 2022. And I knew I needed to change my life. And during that time, I'd also been diagnosed with ADHD. So I was diagnosed last February, and things started making sense then, why I did things, because I've had it my entire life, but I wasn't diagnosed. So that kind of led into, help me with wanting to write the book. But I just felt if I can help anybody, because so many things have happened to me because of, it's all stemmed from my limiting self-beliefs. So that negative self-talk that people talk about. And so that's what led me to all the things that have happened to me. And so I just wanted to come clean. I wanted to be authentic. Everything's in there. It's pretty powerful. There's a lot in there. It's all my secrets are out, but I wrote it because if I can just help one person, whether, they're suffering from depression, which I suffered from for 17 years. I had postpartum and then it was undiagnosed, then went to full depression. I suffered from anorexia for 17 years, but I hid it. So that'd be like a hidden thing. Just in, toxic relationships, on. And then of course the secret, but, I just felt I can write it and help one person to know you're not alone. Like, you're not alone. Other people are going through what you're going through. And also you're not, because you have held a secret or because you've done things you're not proud of, doesn't define you. It doesn't make you a bad person. You just, once you know better, you can do better.
Yeah.
And that's why I wrote the book. I'm really proud of it.
Awesome. You should be. That's an amazing book to read, to write. And I'm sure it's a good read. I have, what's the next one you said you're going to do?
So the next one, and I don't have the name of it, but it's actually, it's going to be on the top, the cover is an umbrella, colorful umbrella, because that's the Tourette's. And then underneath, it doesn't mean because you have Tourette's, you are going to have these other things, but you're 75% more likely to have the OCD or just right OCD, ADHD, anxiety disorder, and ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder, which I have as well. I just don't talk about it. But you're you're 75% more likely to have all of those things if you have Tourette's. And I am, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but at the same time, I am who I am because of all these things that I have. I'm very compassionate and empathetic towards people that have anything that's different. And I don't call it a disability. I just call it a difference. We just learn differently or see things differently or approach things differently, but it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with us. So I kind of, I say, unfortunately, but at the same time, I'm okay that I have everything because it's made me who I am today.
Nice. Well, and you're absolutely right. I would not be here today doing this. We wouldn't be having this conversation if I had been ashamed of, what I had acquired from this last brain surgery. Yeah. This has really only been, 2 or 3 years in the making. And I've been having brain surgery my whole life, but this last one in October of 21 has really opened up a lot of crazy possibilities that I never would have even dreamed of if it hadn't happened. So I agree with you. It's not unfortunate. It is. It's a double-edged sword, honestly, because it is unfortunate because sometimes it sucks. Yeah. But but we wouldn't be having this conversation if neither one of us had embraced what was going on. Yeah. And rolled with it. So yeah. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool. So I love it. Well, gosh, you said something about, I almost wrote it down and I didn't. So it fell right out of my head. So maybe it'll come back to me later and I'll ask you about it. But so what, so as far as, so that's the book, but then there's, I'm going to grab this other QR code because you've got, here we go. Let's talk about this for a minute. Cause you've got, if anybody's ever found you on Facebook, you would never, you are not laying down and crying in your beer about being diagnosed with all this stuff. You are kicking butt and taking names out there. So talk about what's at this website and what you're doing here.
So I'm going to pedal back for a second. So 20 years ago, a friend of mine wanted me to take fitness classes to become a fitness instructor. And I said, no way, because I was really insecure back then. And I said, I don't want to be standing in front of people, and twitching, having my tics. And so she just kept on me and on me. She's like, no, I think you'd be so good. And I kept saying, no, not interested. And then finally I said, okay, I'll take the courses, just kind of, it was almost just to get her to stop bugging me. And
Yeah.
thank goodness I did, because it completely changed my life. So once I took the courses, I realized I wanted to help people. And so I started teaching. Well, first I started teaching at a gym, but then I quickly started my own business called Fit to Motivate. And I just wanted people to have a safe environment. So like my workout, room downstairs is where I teach, or outside in the summer, is very raw. And I want it to be like that because I want people to feel safe.
Yeah.
I want people to come and not have to worry about what they're wearing, if they have makeup on or hair done, I don't care. And it's a very safe environment. It's not cliquey. Everybody loves everybody here. And I just am able to give them a really good workout. And then I have branched out recently. So I partnered with another girl, Kari, her name's Kari as well, but Carrie Ann, and we're doing retreats. And so our next one is called Guided by Gut. And so what we're meaning by that is everybody has a gut instinct. Most choose to ignore it. And so it's just that, like that inner voice, whatever you want to call it, inner voice, gut instinct, that feeling in your stomach, that butterfly, whatever you want to call it, it guides us. And all we have to do is listen to it, because it's right all the time. But a lot of times we second guess it, and we're, and I can go on with many examples, but so we've partnered up for these retreats called Gut. And this next one we're doing is Guided by Gut. And so my business is mostly about fitness. I do goal workshops. I also do accountability coaching, because a lot of people need to be accountable to someone to get their stuff done. Most people, I think most people do. And so I do accountability coaching as well. And so I just keep you accountable to the goals that you've set. And we meet through online 3 times a week, just to keep you on track. If you get off track, it's only a day till you talk to me again, and then we'll get you back on track.
And is the retreats, they're virtual, right?
No,
are they virtual?
They're in person.
Oh, they're in person. Okay.
In person.
So you go to a destination for the retreat, and
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. And where are they?
So the first one is in Bowden. That's it's close to Red Deer in Alberta.
Oh, okay. So we're in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about in Alberta. Okay. I just want to make sure. I knew you were in Canada, but I couldn't remember which province. So
Alberta. So I'm in Alberta, and it's right central. Alberta is where the retreats are. So it's a center. It's a ranch. It's a ranch, and that's where we'll be hosting that one. Yeah.
Oh man, that's got to be a cool place too.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh man. Okay, cool. I love that. That's fantastic. So if anybody is wanting to do something like that and get to go to Canada and be part of one of these retreats, man, just reach out, check it out.
Yeah. So it's on my website under events. Just go to my website and it'll all be there.
Events, right on. I love it. That's so cool. How many of these retreats do you do a year? We're just
getting started, and we're hoping to do two a year. And then I myself will be doing week-long fitness retreats, where it's one day we hike, one day we do biking, and one day we do something in the water. So paddle boarding or kayaking. And that is in Canmore, which is a beautiful setting.
Cool.
And
that's so cool.
One this summer, and then get started. Yeah.
So summertime. Yeah, that's probably a good time to do it if we're going to be getting in the water. Yeah, let's not do it in February. Yeah,
that's not in Canada, anyways.
No, definitely not. Maybe on Oahu somewhere. Maybe in Hawaii we can do it in February, but not in Canada.
No.
Woof. Wow. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. I love it that they're in person. I love virtual retreats. In fact, we are gonna launch a virtual retreat as well in March, but virtual is really cool, but they all have their advantages and disadvantages, so it just depends on what the niche is and what you're going for. So I love that. In person is so cool. So right on. Well, can you tell just for a few minutes, we only we got a couple more minutes and we're going to go to our last break, but can you talk to us just a little bit about the role of like mindset with all of this? I mean, between the fitness stuff you're doing and the Tourette's and all the underlying things that are going, and how you're staying, so positive despite all that. It's a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, it is what it is. It's nothing, you can't change, I can't change it. And so if I can educate and help others through it, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just keep positive because again, like I had said earlier, it is I am who I am because of it. So I'm extremely resilient and positive and, maybe not with the Tourette's, but like with the ADHD and the just right
Yeah.
OCD, maybe not with the just right OCD, but with the ADHD, I'm learning so much, and it truly is a superpower to me, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I understand. I'm glad I know I have it, and that has made me more positive this last year, finding out what it was.
Nice.
And learning more, understanding more, and realizing, oh, that's why I do these things. And then I've turned it into a positive as opposed to a negative of why I do these things.
And I'm sorry, you've said this a couple times, and I even said it at the beginning of the show, and I feel like we haven't really touched on it because it was something I'd never heard of before until we met the first time. What the heck is just right OCD?
Okay,
What is that?
So I'll start. So OCD, first of all, is
Yeah.
is obsessive compulsive disorder. So you have to have so the obsession is usually fear of death or harm. So the compulsion then would be making sure that your doors are locked so that no one breaks in, because the obsession is someone's going to break in and harm me. Or turning off the stove is a big one. People, check it, because they would be in fear of the stove catching on fire and someone being harmed.
Mm-hmm.
I never had that. I have the obsession, I have the compulsion. The compulsion is I wash my floor every single day on my hands and knees, every single day. It's exhausting. And I couldn't figure out, I don't have the obsession with it. It's not that I think anyone's going to, bring germs. It's not that I feel I'm going to die if I don't wash my floor. So when I was diagnosed last February with ADHD, again, you go to a neurologist, they ask you all these questions, and then the OCD part came up. And he said, and he brought up OCD, and I said, but I don't have that compulsion the obsession. And he said, because you have Tourette OCD, because I have Tourette's, I have Tourette OCD, and which is also called just right. So what that means, and if anyone remembers back to when we had TV and then we didn't have the box cable, so at 11 o'clock at night or midnight, the TV would go all fuzzy. That's what happens to my brain. So if my house isn't completely, like my house looks like a show home 100% of the time. If it doesn't, or if my floor isn't washed, I get all fuzzy in my head and I cannot function. I can't, it's like I'm paralyzed. I can't carry on with my day until I stop and completely have my house 100% perfect. And it's not, I don't do it. Like my mom used to say, you don't have to clean for us. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not cleaning for you. I'm cleaning for my brain.
Right.
It's not for anyone else. It's seriously, it really don't care if people come in my house and say if it's clean or not. It's that I cannot function if I don't have everything perfect. And so that's where it's called just right, because your brain has to be just right. That's why it's called that.
Huh.
Which made my whole life make sense, because I couldn't figure it out. Because I don't have fear around my compulsion, but I can't stop.
See, and that's why I wanted to ask you about that. And that's why I was so fascinated when you told me about it, because I have a feeling, because I'm with you. I do have a lot of compulsions, but I don't have the obsession part. It's not because I'm afraid somebody's going to break in and kill me or I'm going to somehow something's going to explode if I don't do something, or, it's not fear-based at all. It's just, it's I don't need, yeah, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain
It is.
until you pointed that out. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Like
just,
if I'm
have to
sitting,
do it.
yeah. Like if
Yeah.
I'm sitting at my table and I teach piano as well for a living. But when I'm sitting and I can see like footprints on my floor or little specks of dirt because I have dark floor, I can't function. Like I get like really
pause.
fuzzy inside of my brain and I get anxious and I have to clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is, and you're right though. It's freeing once you figure out what that is. It's freeing because you go, okay, well, now I have something I can do in order to not feel like that. I just clean my floor, or I just check all the doors in the house. Yeah. And everything is cool. And okay, I can go about my day now, or whatever the compulsion is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing.
Because like when I leave, when I used to have all carpet in my other house, I had to, like, if I was leaving on holidays, I'd vacuum as I was leaving. That'd be the last thing I would do is vacuum so that when I came home, I'd see all the vacuum lines. And so now I don't have carpet, but with floor, if I'm going away, or even if I'm just leaving the house, I have to have my floor completely perfect. And then I can leave and then I'm fine.
Yeah.
And also, I do just want to bring this up if I have time. It's funny because it's just at my house. So that's why I like to go on holidays. I like to go to my cousins and sleep over.
Yes.
I like to go to my parents' home because I don't care. I'm not that way on holidays. I'm not. It's just my house. It's my floor, my things, my house have to be perfect in order for my brain to function. But if I'm somewhere else, I don't have those obsessions.
I totally agree.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have the compulsion to clean someone else's house, and I can and then I fully can relax. Like I can really just fully relax when I'm at someone else's house.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I can relax only after everything is done and perfect. And it's exhausting.
It is.
And no one sees that part.
No, nobody sees that part. And that's the part that really blows their mind, is that you have to do it. It's like, but why? Who cares why? It doesn't, I couldn't answer that question. No answer is going to satisfy you anyway.
Yeah.
Why I do it. None of it's going to make sense. So just roll with it. It's
because
okay.
There's times I'm on my hands and knees washing my floor and I'm like almost crying because I don't want to be doing it, but I just have to do it or I get just all fuzzy in my head.
So what's so there's the trade-off, either you're fuzzy in your head or you're angry with yourself because you have to do it, but what's worse, so I get it. I totally understand.
And it's like it's almost like clockwork. I can start to feel myself, just not on the daily things of my house being perfect, but I can start to feel like a little bit anxious, and I know it's coming, that I have to do a full house sweep, meaning I go through every drawer, every cupboard. I'm already a minimalist, which helps, and maybe that's why I am, but I go through every cupboard, every drawer, and everything has to be perfect and in its spot and cleaned. And I do that, like, it's almost like clockwork. Every 3 to 4 months, I can start to feel, it's not that I plan it. I just start to feel like, I'm just not right. Like I'm anxious and just stuff isn't right.
Yeah.
And I have to take a day, get it all done. And then I'm good. I'm good for 3, 4, whatever months. Then I'm good.
I totally understand that. And I think what adds to my, it's just, this was a realization years ago, but with that type of stuff, my memory is shot. My short-term memory is just not great because I've had so many brain surgeries, and it's right back here. The surgeries always occur back here where the short-term memory part of the brain lives. And so it's not even that I have to do it because part of it is that, yes, it is something, it's like that just right thing. But part of it is I could go to that door over there that's downstairs and check that one. And then by the time I get upstairs and get over to this door, I've forgotten whether I checked that one or not.
Yeah.
I have to go back to that one and check it. And so checking half a dozen doors in the house turns into a 30-minute process. And so, but this has been very enlightening though. Very, very encouraging because it's not And if anybody else is feeling that, it's totally cool. It's fine, because it's if that is lifting a weight off your shoulders, that's good. That's a good thing. Go get diagnosed with whatever you need. I mean, if it's going to help you to have a label on it, do it. Go, you know. And so, yeah, this is really good to be able to put a label to it. I know it sounds weird. It sounds kind of silly to have that label on it, but it really does put your mind at ease.
And then I think too, just accepting it, like for me, I'll just speak for myself, but just accepting it, because it can't change. I can't change the OCD. I can't change the Tourette's. I can't change the ADHD. But I think for me, understanding it all, and then being honest. Like I said, this whole year has been a transformation for me of being completely 100% authentic. So I'm very, I encourage people to be honest about it, because if people once people know why I'm doing what I do, I think they're a little more understanding, as opposed to, getting mad at, why are you cleaning your floors? If I can explain it, then it's a little bit, people can understand it a little bit better.
Well, they don't have to. It's like I say to my wife and I have, there's sayings that, you have with your spouse sometimes, and so they don't always make sense with everybody else, but, we'll say, you know what? I don't get it, but it's consistent, And so, with whatever, there's stuff that she does that I'm like, that's once, if we say that, it's like, we totally accept it, but it's like, man, I don't get it, but it is consistent. You've done that for as long as I've known you. Yeah. So and I don't have to get it.
And that's where my whole seek to understand comes in. Just seek to understand why a person does what they do. And then just be understanding, because we all have our little things. We have our quirks. We have our,
Everybody does. Everybody does. Even if you don't think you do, you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Totally. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what, I am going to ask you a question that we ask everybody on the show, because it's how I roll. And it's part of it has to do with our nonprofit Hydro with Hope, and just the life that I have been blessed with all these crazy surgeries and all this crazy up and down. And I mean, we don't have time to get into all that, but hope is a big deal. Hope is a big deal for me. And so I live in a daily attitude of hope. And I just want to ask you, on the days that you're on your hands and knees and it's driving you crazy, that you're washing your floor again, or you're whatever the thing is, going through your daily life, how do you find hope?
That's a good question. And I don't know if I'm gonna,
however, whatever that is to you. I mean, whatever that question means to you,
Well, I hope that people, and maybe I'm not on the right track on the answer, but I just hope that I wrote the book, I'm writing the next book, I'm on here. I just hope that people can be a little more compassionate and empathetic towards people. That's my main goal. That's my main hope for people, is to we all have something going on. And I just hope that people can be more supportive, more encouraging, kinder, and just more empathetic and compassionate. Because that's what makes the world go round, really, is we're all different. If we were all the same, how boring would that be? So if someone's doing something that's a little bit different, I personally would rather them come and ask me about it than to judge or talk behind my back. So I just hope that I can bring, something. I just hope that I can bring some enlightenment to people in the understanding of everybody goes through something, whether it's, we can see it or whether we can't, because I think a lot of people go through things we can't see, whether it's depression or, bipolar or anxiety, or I think there's a lot of anxiety, and people don't see that. They can't see that. So just to be my hope is just for people to be kinder.
Yeah.
And not so quick to judge, just seek to see understand what they're going through.
Yeah.
I'm not
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
I love that. Yeah. Because it's true. It's true. Most people rush to judgment and don't rush to seeking to understand.
Yeah.
They just look at they look and point a finger. And I feel like that's gotten a little better, but it's a tough long road to get there. So
Yeah.
well, what message of we got about 2 or 3 minutes left and we're done. See, time flies when you're having fun. I told you it would go fast.
Yeah.
So if you had somebody sitting in front of you right now, currently like hadn't been diagnosed with anything, still like in the dark, trying to figure out what the heck is going on, what would be your message of encouragement to that person?
My message is, number one, you're not alone. No matter what you have, you're not alone. Number two, like a lot of people live with the embarrassment of things that they have, and it's not your, like, if it's a hereditary thing, you're just born with it. Or if it's a lot of times we're just born with things. It doesn't change who, doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you, it just makes us a little bit different, but we're all different in a different way.
Right.
So I feel, for me, it's a superpower. I've changed it. Instead of it being, a disability for me, it's a superpower. And I'm honing in on all of that. The ADHD, we didn't really get to talk about the ADHD, but that, Tourette Syndrome, OCD, I'm just using that as my superpowers. And I hope that people can view whatever they're going through as it's a tool for you to understand it and be an advocate for it. And don't be not to tell people what they should or shouldn't do, but, try not to be embarrassed about it. Research it. If you think that you have something like OCD or ADHD or Tourette Syndrome or any of that, ODD, anxiety, seek help. Again, you can't change any of it. But for me anyways, understanding what I have has completely opened up my life. I don't use any of it as an excuse ever, but understanding what you have is just powerful. It's very powerful to move forward with. And so if I can help anybody and just giving that message, number one, you're not alone. Number two, try not to be embarrassed by what you have, because we all have something. And number three, if you can use it for the good, which is what I'm trying to do, educate. I want to educate people on these things. And that's my message, I think.
I love it. And this is the perfect, this QR code right here. I put that one back up because I want people to have every single way that they can reach out to you.
Thank you.
Right there. So all you got to do is pop that put your phone up there and scan that QR code. There will be no excuse for you not to get a hold of Kari.
And I'd like to say too, and on my website, on the link tree, but on my website, there's a spot at the end to contact me. Even if you just want to talk, I would love to talk to anybody that wants, of course, I'm not a neurologist or a doctor, but if you have any questions and you're not sure on things, or you're doing certain things and you just want someone to talk to, I'd love for people to reach out to me and connect with me, because I'd love to hear your story.
Beautiful.
Yeah, would love it.
That's therapeutic just in itself, telling your story. So
100%.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Kari. Thank you
you
for being here. Thank you for being so vulnerable and for just opening our eyes to so many of these cool things. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I can't believe it goes that fast, but it does. And so we're out of time. But if you have a favorite episode, if this was your favorite episode, if you have a favorite episode in from the last several months of us being on the air, share it out, because if it's your favorite episode, it's probably somebody else's too. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody that's watched consistently. I so appreciate it. Share with all your friends. And I can't wait to see you all back again on Tuesday, March 5th. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you then.